Hello and welcome to Steve's Backyard Bonsai. Today I want to get into the really fascinating subject of picking up something that could possibly be nice at your local Lowe's or Home Depot or local nursery, and seeing how simple it can be to get it on its way to becoming a bonsai. This is a dwarf Japanese garden juniper, and it's shown as a ground cover. Landscape highlight trailing. I don't know if you can see the picture, but it's shown as a ground cover. Now, I know by looking at this thing that it's got a lot more potential than just a ground cover. If you can see this part of the trunk, it seems quite nice. So there are long pieces that could be made vertical. This could be one of those trees that looks like it has other trees growing along the trunk. It could be a cascade easily. So let's get into it and see what it offers. First thing I'm going to do is take it out of the pot, work my way down the soil a little bit. The plan is to put it back in the pot, not do the root work, but get something exposed. It's so early in the growing season that if I can find a part of this tree that looks beautiful and want it to grow on, that'll be the task of the day. All right, so let's get it out of the pot. It rained quite heavily this morning, so I'm expecting this to be a little bit of a wet mess. I hope it stays together because I am putting it back in this pot. The gloves are, for anyone who's ever handled one of these, you know it's quite prickly. And try and expose some trunk. And as I mentioned, my plan is to put the soil that I pull away on the bottom of this pot, and then put it back in the pot with whatever trunk I've exposed a little bit higher up. That'll help you envision what you're going to be working on. And nursery stock can't be overlooked as a really good source of excellent bonsai. You gotta have some patience. But if you're watching this, you must be one of those people who has patience. Bonsai is not for the immediate gratification crowd. So this is going to be allowed to grow out in the pot that it came from for another year, in the pot that it came in rather, for another year. And then I'll do the root work. Although it looks like I'm doing a little bit of it today, I'm going to quit while I'm ahead. I might just cut away some of these upper ones. In order to do that, I need to clear away with a little finer tool. It's not a major trunk, but this discovery process is really cool unto itself. And I urge you to try it. Go out and find something like this. These trailing varieties means they grow long branches, which can be used for other things. This could be an upright tree. You just have to keep on top of it. All right, let me cut away some of the upper roots and pull them away from the structure, and we'll take a close look at it. There's some very high roots. What you're looking for is the root plane, and that is the place where you want and the tree wants, and hopefully those are the same thing, to have its roots begin and enter into the ground. And I'm trying to look at the shape of the trunk to see if there's any inverse taper. Inverse taper means it starts out fatter, gets thinner, then maybe gets fatter again. Not a very good look for bonsai. Roots to cut off the top. I'll try and pull them away. And you want to try and find a place where there's a flare as it enters the ground. You don't always find that, but when you do, it's one of those rewarding moments that you remember. Certainly remember it when you're working on the tree again. I think this is the last one I'm cutting. All right, let me see if I can find those to pull them away. I also have a Japanese holly with really tiny leaves that I picked up at a nursery. I picked up at Lowe's. There were only a few of them. They were in among the boxwoods. And I don't know what I just cut off, but hopefully it's not something I need. But let's see if there's anything to talk about here. I'll try and zoom up on this area right here. All right, it looks like if I lift the back up, you can see the trunk. I'm not able to go around the camera and look, but this trunk comes up to about right here and then goes down and trails to here. So it's a little bit loose. There is a root sticking straight up here that I'm sure I'm not going to want. So I'll cut it off just as it starts to go vertical. I'm not really going to worry about the roots that I've cut, where they are, where they end up. Just going to go in the soil again. And if I can't get it high enough up to feel comfortable about it, that's okay too. I'll add something to the bottom to make up the difference. All right, so I'll put this down. I'll turn the pot again right side up. I'm just going to collect everything that I just took out, put it in the bottom. Press it down a little. I'll leave some to fill in the sides, but this is going right back in the pot. This is mostly pine bark, which is kind of weird, but I've heard a lot of people say that that's where what their trees are coming in lately. Okay. All right, I like where this ended up. I'm just gonna tuck those roots back in. If they're long, I'm gonna let them curl around. We'll deal with that at a later date. Those pieces of root that I cut, going right back in. I'm not going to leave that exposed. I may have to put bonsai soil up a little higher, because that's what I have readily available. And if all goes well, this might be ready to put in a bonsai pot next spring or late winter, even just before it starts to grow. Yeah, I picked up a little trunk. All right, let's start clearing away some of the foliage. I'm going to press that down as hard as I can, and we'll start clearing away some of the foliage. The first thing you're going to want to do after you've done that trunk investigation is to go in and start looking for the branch structure. And I hope I have a view that really demonstrates this. And just clear away the interior growth from those branches as you identify the branches. Here's one branch, and I'm just clearing away the debris and the dead branches and any new growth that's close to these intersections of branches, and that'll help you see what you've got here. Okay, that's all I'm going to do on the one branch. Now I'm going to move on to another branch, which is this one, and look at all this stuff down here that I'm not going to need, I'm not going to want. It's just clogging any kind of visibility you might have to the interior of the tree, and ruins the miniature look that you might be trying to go for, which I know I'm trying to go for. All right, so as you can see, I don't even know if I'm going to keep any of these branches, you know, the ones I'm clearing out or clearing around. I'm going to try not to cut off anything that I will want. This is just to allow me to look deeper into the tree and see its potential or its shortcomings. You know, and when you pick out a tree like this at a nursery, you've kind of looked at it and the others, and you may get a burst of inspiration right away. It may take this operation to give you that inspiration. But either way, what I'm doing now is the first step to understanding your tree. Many of my trees I just find growing around my yard, and I consider them pre-bonsai. I consider this pre-bonsai, but that is no less bonsai because every tree starts out not a bonsai and then has to be turned into one by a practitioner of bonsai. Practitioner has the root word practice. But I'm starting to see a pretty interesting structure under here. And like I said, I don't even know if the branches I'm clearing are going to remain. But that's not the point at this juncture. The point is to understand the nursery stock you brought home. The sheer enjoyment I get out of doing this is worth everything. Some branches below that I know you can't see right now, I'm just going to take those off. And I'll go into time lapse for the rest of this and come back when it's all clear and we can look through the tree and see what we want to do with it. All right, so the tree is starting to take some shape. So I've got to look at it critically and think about what I might want it to do, where a front could be. I see this branch. It does block the trunk, but without it, what do I have? I have a very nice upward sweep and then a downward motion. I think I'm going to get rid of that branch. It's gone. This is shaking around in the pot a little bit, making me a little nervous. I do have a lot of playing around with branches to do. I'll try and keep the tree still. It's not ideal. All right, next thing that bugs me is this branch right here. It crosses right back over everything else. I don't know if you can see that. This branch attaches right down here. Not a good branch. It's gone. Might be a good cutting though. I don't know if these things grow from cuttings. That'd be fun. They trail along the ground, so they probably do grow from cuttings. All right, I'm starting to like what I'm seeing. Next thing I want to know is, do I want these two little branches to develop? I don't think I do. I'm going to go in and clear away more interior growth. It's only very confusing to look at. Some of it will dry up and fall off. All right, here are two branches starting from pretty much the same point. So I'm going to take the lower one off. And I'm toying with the idea of coaxing this vertical and coaxing this a little bit more vertical, giving them individual conical shapes. And I'm making the decision as I'm doing this that because of its relative precarious nature in this pot, now is not the right time to wire. If I wanted to wire, I'd be moving the tree around too much and I would risk harming it. So I'm thinking about that for the future. Allie, shush! That's our neighbor's dog. Hears me in the greenhouse, sees me every day, and still barks at me. Allie is a German Shepherd, and Allie has a new brother, a Great Dane. That's the sweetest thing you ever saw, with a very worried look on his face. And I'm going to cut the bottom of this off. Okay, now let's talk about this. Any way you look at it, it's too long, and I want to clear some of this out, maybe choosing some alternating branches, but I'm going to cut the growing end off, and I think I'm going to shorten it a little more. All right, so let me start clearing away some of the little growth that's on here that I know I'm not going to need. That top piece. I got a first branch over there. Is that a good first branch? No, I can come down one more. Then I'm going to start to want to choose branches. I like this one as my first branch. Yeah. So I'll clear away anything that interferes with the little branch next to it. Next branch could be down here. It kind of alternates with that one. They are going out, up rather, and I might want to wire them out at some point. Here's one along the top side of this that I'm going to clear away. The next branch should be here. So I'm going to take this one away. And then this is my next branch off of this. So I'll take this one away. And the one that's growing underneath, I don't need. And this is setting it up for the growth that I'm expecting over the summer, over this summer. Take this top piece off. Then it kind of divides again, didn't it? Let's see what it does. Bit of top growth. And I do see buds down low that hopefully will now have a signal to start doing something. All right, so I want this now to go pointy to here. So I need to look underneath. Here's a big part of the confusion. And here's another big part of the confusion. And this is all just clearing out branches and giving what the things that you want to keep on growing, giving them room to grow. And I'm gonna trim the end a little cleaner, kind of undercut it. Like that. All right, so there's room for vigor at the end. I think I'm going to take this one off. And really give this branch some reason to bud back. All right. This branch. I think I'm going to want to wire this one up. So with that in mind, I'm going to take some of these lower branches and shorten them. this one, I'm going to remove that lower branch and this lower branch. I'm going to want to simplify these trees as well. This is crossing. I'm going to take that off. I want to simplify this. So in order to do that, I got to see what's happening with it. It involves removing clutter, removing branches that are facing the wrong way, cleaning up anything that's going straight down or contributing to an underside that looks like it needs work. There's sub-branching here, but you can't see it. And I want it to develop and get woody. And the only way that's going to happen is if light can get in there and air. It makes watering a lot easier. Like I say, I like the branching that's happening. But it's just too immature. So we got to let it mature. Instant gratification is not a part of bonsai, which might be why young people who are used to being able to find the answer to things right away and see the results of something very quickly, might be why they're not drawn to bonsai. Yeah, I might wire these down instead of up. Be less work. I like that splits there. What don't I like? I don't like this. So what do I have? I think I have the start of a very nice Japanese juniper. It trails off in the back. I very well may cut this to here and forget about it being a trailing variety, or see what it gives me in terms of trailing in the years to come. Well, let me steady it in the pot and we'll take one more look at it. And it's a wonderful, wonderful way to get started in bonsai. So thanks for coming along with me while I did this, and thanks for keeping me company in my backyard.